The aftermath of Election Day. It was a huge night for Democrats who swept most of the big races. Among them, the people you just saw right there on your screen, Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani winning the New York City mayoral race. Congresswoman Wendy Schiller will become New Jersey's first Democratic woman governor. And in Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger has made history as the state's first female governor. We saw a big voter turnout as well. So what does this mean for the future of politics? NBC 10 political analyst Wendy Schiller joins me now to talk about all of this. Wendy, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So Wendy, first off, last night, basically a sweep for Democrats in several key races. Was this expected?
Well, I think it was expected in Virginia, but the Jersey race looked like it was tightening up. So the margin, it's a big margin that she won by, I think, more than 10 points. I think that really surprised people. But what also happened in Virginia was the state legislature, the lower house was up and the Democrats picked up seats. So I think the turnout was surprising to a lot of people because that was really the Democrats' problem in 2024. And there was a lot more enthusiasm, and particularly among groups that had left the Democrats in 24. They came back home last night in that election.
Very interesting. And a lot of the big name Democratic winners like Mamdani in New York and Sherrill in New Jersey, as you just mentioned, really targeting or standing up to Trump. That was, some of their main messaging. Do Republicans need to consider that now when looking ahead to 2026?
Well, I think both the Republicans and the Democrats have to treat this as sort of old-fashioned politics. Candidates that resonated with voters where they live, New York, New Jersey, Virginia. In the Virginia race, Spanberger didn't sort of use Trump as a foil as much as Sherrill did in New Jersey. So you have to know your crowd, know your voters, and know what's important to them. Prices, wages, housing, health care. These are things Democrats used to campaign on. And so I think the messaging is you want to campaign on the same set of issues, but how you campaign, how you reach voters, the language you use, what you talk about, who you are, that can vary. And unless the Democrats really accept that principle, I think it's still going to be tough for them in 26. They have to learn how to sort of meet the moment where voters are.
Right. And as you mentioned, the economy, the shutdown, those were large factors in how things shook out here. That's what a lot of people were voting on. Can you speak to that, the importance of that and how that swayed in the direction of Democrats this time around?
That's a terrific question. It was different. So Virginia has a lot of federal workers. Northern Virginia has a lot of them. 20% apparently were affected by layoffs or furloughs and shutdown. That makes a difference in Virginia. In New Jersey, President Trump threatened to cancel a really big infrastructure project that connects New York City with Jersey. And that affects, thousands and thousands of people on a daily basis. So the government matters. And I think what Republicans have to understand is that the American people want a leaner, more efficient government, but they want a federal government, and they want one that's open and that what works. And so that puts pressure on the Republicans to get things going, but the Democrats are the ones who are, in fact, not agreeing to open up the government at the moment. I think these big victories give them a chance to negotiate, come to the table, and get things moving again. I think everybody wants to see that happen.
And locally, we had two mayoral races in Massachusetts. Both incumbents in Fall River and Taunton won their seats back. Fall River's Paul Coogan, a Democrat, Taunton, Sean O'Connell, a Republican. Does that speak to party lines locally at all?
I think it speaks to the fact that the voters are engaged. People want to do something. They're always asking, what can we do? They want to get out. They want to go to a rally. They want to do things. They want to vote. Providence, you saw a city council election. I think that will make a difference to the relationship between Mayor Smiley and the city council. So, I think that's what's happening. And it's a whole new world of campaigning. And I think the sooner the people who are the older generation figure out how to mobilize people, not just younger people, all voters, I think you'll get more participation and more enthusiasm.
Going back to the mayoral race that's been all over social media, of course, we're talking about New York City. We saw a young candidate in Mamdani bring home a lot of votes against big names in politics. So do you think we could see this play out in other cities in 2026 where the younger people, the younger candidates become more standouts?
You know, we're starting to see some glimpses of it in Chicago. Even last year we saw it with the victory there. But, you know, then you have to govern. You have to get things done. A year is a long time. So the risk for the Democrats in sort of showcasing Mamdani is a year from now, maybe things are good in New York, maybe they're not. So it's risky for them to tie everything to him. But the way he engaged with people, the social media use that he engaged in, these are all lessons. And the Democrats won with Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, for example, younger, charismatic candidates. And the women who won for governor were also charismatic. So I think that's really the trick. Trump is charismatic. You may like Donald Trump, President Trump, you may not, but he's extremely charismatic and he can get his loyal voters out the door. Democrats have to learn from yesterday how to do that in many more places around the country.
Yeah, it shows you the types of people that, you know, voters are really drawn to. All right, Wendy, well, thanks for joining us and providing us your insight on this. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.